Disclaimer. I am a law student, and the legal information provided is not legal advice. For that, please hire an attorney.
Riley, I posted something in scripting and planning that I thought you would be interested in looking at. It's about Samuel or Justice Alito. Like he gave a speech at the Federalist Society yesterday or recently,
Oh,
talking
interesting.
about
All right, here.
going to like the cultural war. Yeah. if you wanna
Oh,
bring it
interesting.
up.
Yeah. Here, let me take a look. While we're here, sure, why not? I'm gonna have like a couple of videos to be able to go up this week. I know I had like a discussion about Shu the other day. That was pretty good. I had a discussion about what do you call it? Allies on the left. That was pretty good. So yeah, let's see what we got. All right. Supreme Court Justice Alito's Federalist Society speech shows how political the court will get. Oh fuck me. All right. Well, you see, this makes me feel a lot better because this is in my depth. See, y'all, all you Marxists in chat, all you socialists in chat, we're in my domain now, motherfucker. All right, let's see what we got. One of the Supreme Court's leading conservatives openly joins the culture wars and clearly telegraphs his intention now that he's in the majority. Fuck. All right, Alito. I know that Alito came out recently, for people who were watching before, and talked about the fact that like he, him and who was the other one? Was it Thomas? There were two. It was him and one other Supreme Court justice came out recently and talked about how the ruling in favor of gay marriage, I think it was Obergefell v. Hodges, was one, like how they deeply regretted that decision, but on the basis of basically just like, oh, we need to preserve the sanctity of the traditional family marriage. Not like on any kind of like rational legal basis, but on what a lot of other legal scholars called like laughable, right? So yeah, I mean, like this isn't like necessarily the most surprising. But let's see. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito made a forceful entry into the various culture wars on Thursday evening with a keynote address at the annual meeting of the Conservative Federalist Society. Yeah, Federalist Society, for people who don't know, like they're the people who appoint, like they're the thing that they are most well known for. They basically create the list of judges that every conservative president looks at when appointing Supreme Court justices, right? Like these are the people who have like the most direct hand in nominating conservative justices, including our most recent justice, right? So keep that in mind. Like they have some other relevance in society. Actually, Philosophy Tube recently made a really good video talking kind of about them and how they came into being. So I definitely recommend people go watch that. But yeah, like that's their most notable. Like they do that and they spread the idea that like originalism is good when it's not. A speech that, with some minor edits and more energy and delivery, could have been a stemwinder given by a Republican Senate candidate on the stump. Fuck me. All right, what did we got? It was a remarkable performance that he declared with a piercing sense of persecution and resentment that he and his audience were a persecuted minority. What? Despite speaking to a group that had spent 4 years exercising remarkable power over the country's judiciary from a position of nearly unparalleled personal power. What? Who's the persecuted minority here? Like who?
Conservatism is punk rock.
Conservative. Oh yeah, This is literally the conservatism is punk rock. Conservatism is rebellion. Conservatism is the alternative. Is the alternative rock. Like fuck me.
What do you think they call it? Alt-right.
The persecuted minority. Because yeah, you can definitely tell that this guy has 100% been persecuted on the basis of his race or his gender or his sexuality.
This guy gets racially
his
profiled
class.
all the time.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, totally. It is all right. What it is true, I suppose.
This next paragraph is such a dunk.
It is true, I suppose. True enough that the Federalist Society represents a minority. Its constitutional vision just lost the popular vote in 7 of the last 8 presidential elections, and the views of legal conservatives like Alito are so radically unpopular, both in the profession and without the Republican positions. Just spent the confirmation hearing for the new Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett furiously denying to the American people that she could possibly share them. She does. Fucking true! Holy shit! Oh, I love it. I fucking love it. Yeah, no, listen, I mean, like, when we're talking about, like, all right, and again, I recommend that people go watch the Philosophy Tube video. It's really good, but, like, just to basically break down, like, they're, like, the kind of views that they're talking about, right? We're talking about views like, interpreting the Constitution to ban gay marriage. We're talking about things which, like, when we're talking about, like, overturning Roe v. Wade, that's going to be more, more controversial, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, like we're fundamentally talking about like trying to advocate for originalism, which effectively tries to advocate or present itself as like a very neutral way to be able to interpret the Constitution. Basically, like, and there's a couple ways that you could be able to cut it or interpret it, right? Some people say what the interpreters or what the drafters of the Constitution originally meant it to be. Some people would interpret it to be like what the original public meaning was. Usually that's what people go with, and so you end up, but like the consequence of that is that you end up having a lot of like Supreme Court cases where people will unironically fish out like 1700s like 1700s old dictionaries and looking up like what the specific meaning of words were like back when the Constitution was ratified, right? Like asking judges to do like completely crazy and outrageous shit just to try and figure out what the original heavy quotations meaning of certain words in the Constitution was, right? And the bottom line is that the reason why this ends up skewing conservative, yeah, everyone, we stand Ollie here. But the reason why this ends up skewing conservative among a number of reasons, right? The more complicated reason is that it relies on a fundamental premise that like, oh, well, if you don't like what the Constitution originally meant, then you can just change it. Except like we're at a place where in our government where it's functionally impossible to be able to like meaningfully pass any amendments. Like when was the last time that any like actual amendment was passed? It's been a fucking while, right? And not only that, but it also kind of just assumes that there's some sort of validity to the kinds of ideological interpretations of the Constitution at the time it was written. Those are going to be largely conservative values, right? And so even if it has like this vague appeal of trying to be like neutral and true to the original sense of the text, it's a way for conservatives to be able to like shoehorn in a lot more conservative takes than what might otherwise be readily apparent to someone who doesn't know any better. You know, like that's the reason why. That's also the reason why originalism is just kind of shitty. Because also, like, they kind of just present it like, oh, we should definitely interpret the Constitution according to what it meant originally at the time, and not according to our understanding of the words now. And they just kind of say it. There's no like real reason why. They just kind of present it like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. But like, there's no reason why we should like choose to interpret the Constitution in the way that it meant originally when there's like an overwhelming compelling interest to interpret it in the way that the words are understood nowadays, because as it turns out, like the laws affect us now, not back in the 1700s. So yeah, like that's basically this summarized. But there's a lot more cool discussion to be able to have about it. I think I did a video on Ben Shapiro and how he doesn't understand originalism, but anyway. All right, but neither members of the Federalist Society nor Alito are a persecuted minority by and fair any measure of the term. Partisan Republican judges now have an iron grip on the federal judiciary. A Republican nominee has been the median vote for the Supreme Court since 1970, and despite some liberal victories, the court's output throughout this period has been much more conservative than liberal and is getting more so over time. With the confirmation of Barrett, Alito is in a strong position to impose his most popular policy views on 328 million Americans who, by and large, don't agree with him. Yeah, that's about right. All right, let me see what he actually wanted to push for. Yeah, he's expecting 60 Republican majority on the courts to go with the war on numerous fronts with Democratic elected officials, and the rights that and public safety of ordinary members of the public will be irrevocably lost in that fight. Yeah. Oh, fuck. The most disturbing part of Alito's speech was his remarks about the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking on a day in which more than 160,000 Americans contracted the deadly virus and hospitals in many states were straining from overcapacity, Alito remarkably suggested that the government response has been too draconian, asserting that the COVID-19 response highlighted a disturbing trend of policies implemented by the executive branch based on, God forbid, scientific expertise. Oh no! Oh no! We have a science denier in the Supreme Court. Oh no! Oh God.
Oh god.
Oh fuck.
Why is it always
I didn't need this today. Fuck me. Oh, God. All right. Well, that's good to know. We have Amy Coney Barrett, who wants to overturn Roe v. Wade and overturn Obamacare. And now we have Alito, who doesn't believe in science. Full video for anyone who wants to watch it. Oh, great. Awesome. Thanks, L. I appreciate it. There's already a view
It's
expressed.
like 30 minutes long, so
Yeah,
just-
I'm not gonna watch it.
yeah.
Yeah, I assume everything is summarized pretty succinctly here. All right, which held that COVID-19 orders that cover churches as well as other outdoor gatherings violate the First Amendment. Wait, what? Held that COVID-19 orders that cover churches as well as indoor gatherings violate the First Amendment. Oh shit! And most disturbingly, Alito also suggests that the Supreme Court's landmark 1905 decision Jacobson v. Massachusetts, which upheld a mandatory smallpox vaccination law during a pandemic, should be read narrowly, i.e. that it might not apply to the circumstances of today's pandemic. Fuck! Oh, he just doesn't want the government to be able to impose, like, mandatory social distancing laws or, like, mask wearing laws. Like, that's, like, the premise for, like, that's, like, the authority that most people cite to for, like, the government to be able to do those kind of things. Fuck! He just wants people to be able to spread the pandemic. Thanks for subscribing. He just wants people to be able to spread the pandemic without the government being able to do anything about it because it would, quote-unquote, impede on their First Amendment rights. Fuck. That's not great. It's not great.
I just want to say, like, the majority, like, a huge amount of, like, corporations also donated to the Federalist Society, over $100,000 in 2017. I posted something in Friends VC about it.
Oh yeah, no, I totally
like
believe it.
Google and Microsoft, like, both donated over $100,000 in 1 year to Federalist Society.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not surprising. I mean, like, a lot of the Federalist Society is, like, I mean, like, it's presented as, like, this neutral academic society, but, like, it is fundamentally, like, I don't know, it's similar to PragerU, except it's just smarter about it, right? Like, it's a large, like, big interest funded think tank that basically tries to figure out how to be able to push, like, more conservative ideas in the law while presenting them as, like, neutrally and legally as possible, right? Like, that's what the Federalist Society does. That's, like, the whole point of originalism. That's, like, the whole point of what they do. So, I mean, that's not surprising. Let's see. Hold on, wait a second. States COVID-19 responses were not Alito's only foray into the hot-button partisan issue. Alito also criticized the Supreme Court's decision to recognize the right of Americans to same-sex marriages in Obergefell v. Hodges because, according to Alito, you can't say that marriage is a union between one man and one woman because it might be labeled as bigotry. Oh, well, yeah, so that's great. We kind of knew about this already, but cool. So he just kind of casually wants to get rid of gay marriage, not because of, like, any substantive legal argument, but just because you can't say that marriage is a union between, because he's worried about being labeled as a bigot for saying that marriage is a union between one man and one woman. Which, if you are excluding, like, gay people, then yes, you are being a bigot. I'm sorry to say it. Like, you categorically are. If you're saying that, like, people shouldn't be allowed to marry if it's not a man and a woman, and mind you, he's probably not even accounting for trans people. Like if I were to marry, like, a trans guy, or I don't know, if I was to marry, like, a cis guy, he probably would disagree with that as well because he probably wouldn't recognize, like, the validity of my gender identity. But yeah, if you say that two men can't get married or two women can't get married or two non-binary people can't get married, then yeah, you are a bigot. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
I really love that conservative victim complex there too. Like, oh, they're labeling me bigot.
I know, right? It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing that you fucking hear all the time, right? It's the same as, like, Ariel Scarcella. The left is being so mean and bigoted towards me just because I want to constantly shit on trans people and I want to constantly talk about how I shouldn't have to be attracted to trans women, even though no one is saying that I should. And I just, you know, I constantly feel oppressed and I just really want to be able to express my victimhood and how everyone is calling me a bigot for no justifiable reason except for the fact that I'm definitely shitting on trans people 24/7. Won't people please acknowledge me as a victim, right? I don't know, like, what are some other good examples, right? But I mean, that's the first one that comes to my mind.
All I did was have a politically incorrect opinion about the Jewish question.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no! Oh
no.
God! Or like anyone who's racist, right? It's like, oh, all I did was have a politically incorrect opinion about black people. Come on, why are y'all jumping down my throat? Like
All of a
literally, that's
sudden
what.
they were genetically inferior. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like literally, like that's the kind of logic that this is. I think that this is where this is going. Hold on, let me read where this goes. This would be embarrassing nonsense coming from a high school debate team, let alone an associate justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Alito and anyone else remains free to say that same-sex couples should be excluded from the civil benefits of marriage. After all, he did that. He did that just on Thursday night. It's also true that other people can criticize his views even harshly as discriminatory because that's what free speech is, regardless of a Obergefell ruling. True. Oh yeah, fucking get at it, right? That is free speech in its most fundamental. All right, listen. You are free to believe whatever you want. You're free to believe whatever you want. But if you express those views in a public forum and you aren't ready for the backlash of people coming after you for criticizing you and saying that you're a bigot for believing that gay people shouldn't be able to get married, then I'm sorry. Like the law doesn't have any recourse for you. There's no real recourse for you. You're just a bigot, and this is just like that's the free marketplace of ideas in its most in its most healthy, you know? Like I think it's always really interesting how conservatives love using this idea of like the free marketplace of ideas as a way to be able to promote their own ideas, but then when they ever actually get any substantive criticism levied against them, they start crying that like they're the victims in this large culture war. When that's literally the thing that they advocated for to be able to get them in the position to be able to make those kind of like comments and criticisms that they made to begin with, you know? Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It's just kind of hilarious to me. It's a perverse incentive. It's a perverse inversion of the First Amendment to suggest that some views should be exempt from other people's criticisms. Oh my God. The person who wrote this article is we're on the same page. We're collaborating across space-time. I love it. I know, right? I'm on it. Saying that Obergefell was wrongly decided because opponents of same-sex marriage might be called bigots is as silly as arguing that Loving v. Virginia was wrongly decided because opponents of interracial marriage might be called bigots. Fucking true! Oh, and both kinds of people are bigots. Also fucking true. You're damn right. Oh my God, I love it. Whoever wrote this article is fucking on point. NBC News, damn right. NBC, come hire me. Listen, maybe this is my interview tape. Like, come fucking hire me. I apparently like we're just on the same page about this. Alito also heaped derision on various efforts to ensure that women have fair access to contraceptives. Oh fuck. Oh no. Yep. All right, listen, people. They might come after gay marriage. Something that's much more likely is they're probably going to come after like Roe and related cases, like Casey. Versus, I think it's Casey versus Planned Parenthood. I just learned about this the other day in con law. Yeah, like they probably are gonna come after women's rights to bodily autonomy. As one of Riley's Marxist fans, NBC is all right. Listen, I get you. I know. Most strikingly, he attacked a perfectly reasonable policy in Washington state that required pharmacies to provide Plan B to women with a valid prescription. Although individual pharmacists would claim a religious exemption if the prescription could be filled by a coworker. In doing so, Alito falsely claimed that morning after pills destroy an embryo after fertilization, i.e. that they are not a de jure contraceptive covered by Griswold v. Connecticut, but a de jure abortion procedure covered by Roe v. Wade, which conservatives seek to overturn. It is perhaps no wonder he disdains the idea of scientific expertise in government administration. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh damn! The writer is like so fucking spicy on this. I'm really vibing with this energy. And perhaps the most hypocritical moment of the speech, Alito attacked an amicus brief submitted by 5 Democratic senators in a recent gun control case, which pointed out that the majority of public believed that the court was too influenced by politics. What? Alito, well, I mean, like, yeah, true. Alito asserted that the brief itself was written, that the brief itself was an affront to the Constitution and the rule of law. Oh, fuck. I can't tell if he actually is acting in good faith or not. I can't tell, like, if he knows. So basically, like, there are 5 Democratic senators who pointed out that majority of the public believed that the court was too influenced by politics, which it 100% is. Like, it's massively influenced by politics, right? It, like, from here until, like from here for, like, the next 50, like, some odd years, the court's going to be, like, completely conservative in all of its rulings, right? Like, there's zero doubt about it. And anyone who tries to say that otherwise is either lying or doesn't know any better. And
Wait, so what happened to the free marketplace of ideas? Like now that there's an idea that he's opposed to, oh, this is an affront to the Constitution? The fuck?
oh
It-
fuck yeah,
it-
I didn't even put
Isn't
that
this
together.
just like a high school level take of separation of powers? Like the legislative branch shouldn't overrule the. Like, isn't that what he's doing?
Well, I mean, like basically, so what he's trying to do is he's trying to assert that like, oh, it's kind of like what he's trying to do. He's trying to assert that like, oh, well, the legislative branch was assigned with the specific purpose of like trying to be like the non-political, like the non-partisan oversight to the other branches of government, right? The problem is that that kind of resides on the premise that the executive and the legislative branches, when appointing Supreme Court justices, would not try to interject partisan politics into their nominations. But they do. They've done that for years. They've done that for like the vast majority of American history, right? Is like most of American history can be seen and through the lens of like people trying to nominate either conservative or liberal Supreme Court justices, right? And so to say that this is like an affront on the Constitution to try and point out that this problem exists, is kind of laughable because I think he's trying to appeal. Maybe you are right in the sense, like he might be trying to appeal to this idea that like, oh, to say that goes against like the original ideas that the judiciary branch was founded with. But also, like practically speaking, just because it was founded with that ideal doesn't mean that's the way that it functions nowadays. And to try and say that there's no politics in the in the judicial branch is like not only wrong, but like either irresponsible, like almost negligent on his part to just kind of deny that reality, or he's just being dishonest and lying. Yeah.
I mean, like that's the new dialectic is the struggle between electing conservative and democratic Supreme Court justices. That's the real dialectic.
True. Oh, true. I love it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just very, I don't know. Like, I'm glad that you sent me this. It does make me concerned, to say the least, that yeah, we're probably going to be seeing some really fucking yikesy takes out of the Supreme Court pretty soon here. I don't know if like it would be a really bad move on their part to try and go after gay marriage. Both from like a strategic both from the strategic point of view of like, if they do, then they're going to be facing like a lot of public backlash in America because like there's a lot of, like at this point like there's pretty overwhelming support for like gay marriage. But like not only that, but it would be really bad strategy wise because usually that's one of the things that like well, I guess that this is the reason why they might not want to overturn like Roe v. Wade, right? Like usually they use these things as like the motivations for trying to put more conservative people into court, like with conservative Christians. Like usually they use the existence of these policies as ways to mobilize like conservative Christian bases, right? So if you were to overturn it, then that might demobilize a lot of conservative Christians because they're not going to be as mobilized or as like incentivized to engage in like the Republican Party. Because I mean, like that and similar reasons are like how, because like conservative Christians haven't always been voting Republican, right? Like that was, I believe it was like a product of Reagan originally. Like it was somewhere right around like the mid 50s or later where conservative Christianity was actually like first mobilized to vote like primarily Republican. But like before it was like a largely from what I understand like non-political voting bloc in America, right? Or it wasn't nearly what it was today. So I mean, I don't know. It would just be bad strategy to try and go after it. But I mean, like it's entirely possible, right? Like it's entirely possible that we could see a ruling attacking gay marriage. It's entirely possible that we could see a ruling attacking women's reproductive rights. It's entirely possible that we could see a ruling attacking Obamacare and Medicare for all if we were to be able to pass that. Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of fucked up, but that's the country that we live in. I don't know. I don't have very good news about that. I guess that's the end of the clip. Bye.